Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Bill Quarry's celebration of just being a great promoter, and all his friends are here. One of his oldest friends, and really one of the first guys that actually I think Bill actually hired in a show somewhere, is none other than the great Jimmy Bedford. How are you, Jimmy?
I'm fine, man. How are you?
I'm doing great, man. I mean, it's so good to see you. What have you been up to?
Well, I'm just producing and teaching and still doing music, and I'm loving every minute that I have left. Because we're all getting old, so you never know. We've lost a lot of great people.
Yes.
Greg Ken just passed away.
Yes.
Uh, but it's great to see Bill doing his thing, man. I mean, he's just look at him.
Yeah. He's right over there. We're going to get him too. Tell me a story about you and Bill, because you guys go way back. And I think you performed in here for him one time, can you?
Yeah, what happened was that he was looking for a band, and it so happens I have this picture of my mom at Gordon's Drive-In, and he was going there with Gary.
Right. Gary Schmidt?
Yeah, and so my mom told him about me having a band. So I auditioned, and we got this gig here, and the place was just packed every weekend. There was lines all the way out where Burger King is, standing in line to get in this place, and we had like a 5-piece band. And people wanted to dance in those days, It's not just about the band, it was about the people.
Right.
And coming together and having a good time.
Right.
So that's where him and I started. He was at Gordon's Drive-In, and my mom was working there, and the next thing you know, I get this gig here, and I don't know how long it lasted, but we had a great band. Benny Reed on the sax,
Right.
Al Peretti on bass,
Right.
Carl Battaglia on piano, myself on vocals and singing, and Jerry Garcia, who just passed away about 2 weeks ago, the drummer that was playing with us.
So how long have you and Bill been together as friends? How long has that been?
Oh, jeez. It goes back to like the late 50s.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, we'd like to thank you. I know you're busy, and I hope to see you real soon, okay?
Thank you. I hope you guys have a great time. And God bless Bill Quarry. May he go on and go on and go on.
Thank you so much, Jimmy. It's a pleasure. And it is a beautiful day when I'm talking to you.
Me too.
Oh my God, can you believe right now the legendary Mick Flair just came up and wants to talk. Mick, how are you, brother?
I am wonderful, Gregory. Thank you so much.
Tell me a story how you and Bill got together. He seems like he's with everybody, right?
Yeah.
Tell me how it happened.
A couple of years ago, our mutual friend Steve Bond, Steve was doing a video, doing a little documentary thing,
Right.
invited me to come out and come down to Bill's print shop. And that's where I really learned what Bill had done during that period in the early 60s, bringing on the bands, being the local promoter, running the Roll Arena, and doing all these shows.
Isn't it shocking?
No, it is. And I felt like I was in the presence of rock promotion royalty.
Right.
And so, and we had common bonds and things. Myself having worked for Bill Graham,
Yes.
and him being a rival, Bill in San Francisco, and
He's
Bill
in East Bay.
here in the East Bay.
Isn't that weird? You work and now you know, well, God bless Bill Graham. But now Bill, and you know Bill, isn't it amazing that there were two Bills here?
Yes, right.
Isn't it?
And I was fully unaware of what Bill Quarry was doing here at that time in the mid-'60s, because I was born and raised in San Francisco. Used to go into Fillmore and Winterland up through 1972 until I moved here to the East Bay. And by that time, Bill was doing Frenchies in Hayward. And we all knew about Frenchies, radio ads, all the
Yeah, pretty
telling
fun.
acts. Everyone knew.
Yeah.
And I didn't know that was him until, I got here.
Isn't that, you got hip to it?
Oh, I got real hip.
Isn't it amazing that, you know what, you've lived here a long time and all of a sudden somebody like Bill Quarry, because of Steve Bond,
Yes.
tells you this real story about, wait a minute, we've got another promoter that should be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
So what are you doing now?
Right now, I've been retired from Bill Graham Presents for, I was there 46 years, longest tenured
God
employee.
bless you on that.
And then I just knew it was time to walk away. So September 22nd at Shoreline Amphitheater in 2022, I said, this is going to be my final show. So Steve and his lovely wife, Portia, drove me down there.
Took him to his last gig.
Took me to my last gig. Yeah. And so I went out and started with a local iconic band in their 50th year. So I decided to call it a day. And so it's going on 2 years. So now I'm a karaoke singer. I'm making the rounds, keeping all the old songs alive and keeping my pipes in shape.
There you go. And so that is basically the Beaver? Is that the band?
Oh, Dog Beaver.
That's what I'm saying.
So we are still together. We have not called it a day. We are 35 years into it.
Wow.
February 5th was our 35th anniversary. And so we've been on hiatus for 5 years since we played Fillmore New Year's Eve 2018. And, the pandemic hit, slowed things down, and a lot of us have been moved into different areas. But I call them up on our anniversary date, February 5th, every year. Are you still in? Are you still in? They go, yeah. So they're just waiting for me to pull the strings together, and the Beef will be back out playing.
I love it. Do you have anything to say about Bill Quarry tonight, Bill?
Yeah. Bill Quarry, as I learned, he was iconic in bringing the teenagers together for their dance concerts. The Roll Arena in San Leandro, as well as once they were adults and able to go into a bar and club, the Frenchies and the Hayward. And so with that legacy behind him, I got to learn a lot there. And so, yeah, he set the footprint here for the East Bay, whereas Bill Graham was doing it over there. And so, and one of my favorite stories is Bill Graham calling out Bill Quarry. Well, how can you book Jefferson Airplane? That's my act. They're in my territory. And Bill Quarry didn't back down. He goes, no, they wanted to play here. They signed the contract. They're playing for me. You just have to deal with it. And you know what? Bill Graham had to back down on that.
That's right. One of the very few times.
One of the very few times.
Well, thank you so much. God bless you, Gregory. Thank you so much, man. You're great, man.
Thank you.
Thank you.
As you know, I'm going to rock till I drop.
There you go. That's you. That's you.
All right. Cheers.
Cheers, man.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Can I have everybody's attention? My name is Gregory Correa, and I am the MC tonight. I'm also the TV host of Harmonics. And tonight is a day that we're actually honoring the legendary Bill Quarry himself. I'd like to thank Carla and Duncan, who made this all possible. So it's going to be a fun little night. It's going to be like a family situation here because I'm going to bring some people up if you want to talk about Bill, and then we're going to actually ask you questions and we're going to put you on. We're actually going to, my television with my producer, we're going to make a documentary on this, and there's some very great people here that mean a lot to me and have been very active in music all these years. One of the great MCs is none other than Mick Flair is right here today. We got also one of the spiders in the back, the gentleman right here, Larry. Come on. I seen them when I was about 13 years old, man, and I said, man, these guys were so great, so great. Even Mimi from Tower of Power has said that. I'd like to introduce also, we played together years ago when I was only 13. I think Bobby was about 16 at the time. He was just with Peter Wheaton of Breadman. Please welcome Robert Birdwell. One of the great men here also is an Emmy winner. He's my producer, Sue Joyce Sakar. He won an Emmy last year. We also have Stephanie and Greg. The Brown family's right there. We have Mike Quinlan from Lucky Strike and Delta Wires. He's in the back. Mike, over there. We have a gentleman that ran for senator in Nevada, Mr. Gary Schmidt. Mm-hmm. Last time I seen Gary was at our book thing over in Pleasanton, I think it was. One of the great men, and I just love this guy because he's done so much work for so many different people from Ace Records, Alec Pelot. Great man. So if anybody would like to come up and say a few words about Bill Quarry, that would be wonderful. It's sort of at a moment like this in life, you're actually next to a giant who was a promoter. If you really look at Bill Quarry's resume, it begins something like this. Teens and 20s, Roll Arena, the Coliseum, Oakland, or you want to call it the Arena, Kaiser Center. His realm of performers that have come in his life that he actually did could start with Peter Wheaton, the Breadmen, the Spiders, Delta Wires, all these different bands that he played, The Morning Rain, so many great bands, U.S. Mail. And then you go like this. All of a sudden, you open up that book right there, and all of a sudden you see pictures of who? Neil Diamond, Sonny and Cher. This man, Ken Sims, when he brought the Yardbirds in at Roll Arena, it was Kim Sims was playing. I think his band was called Just Six. Am I right? Okay, so they came, and who's playing guitar is Jeff Beck and Jimmy Page. All right? Jeff Beck and Jimmy Page. They didn't have nowhere to go. They spent the night over at Kim Simmons' house right over off Jackson. What a story. It's so amazing. So Bill, then he had Frenchies. Anybody who played at Frenchies, raise your hand, will you please? Great place, right? Right, Larry? Great place. Always there. It's fun. Now it's just historical pieces. Bill Quarry represents so much to me because he should really be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, period. There's two Bills in the Bay Area. One is from Frisco, the other one's from the East Bay. They were both very good. Mick brought up a great story, and maybe Mick could tell you about how Bill Quarry and Bill Graham, who he worked for 46 years, he could tell you that story when he comes up. I'll be asking people to come up and tell a little bit of story. Again, I told you that the line that Bill Quarry has got is so huge. You got to remember. And Steve Bond I just seen him. There you are, Steve Bond. He's also a man that actually does a lot of work for Bill. So I wanted to go that timeline. Not only did he did like Cher and Sonny and Cher, Neil Diamond, and all those, but he also did, which a lot of people didn't know, is that Michael Jackson played at Frenchies. Not many people know that. That's his realm. It started from teens and 20s, and then you have the king of pop that played in Hayward. That's pretty amazing. Bill, you really belong in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and maybe we could get you in there. I know you're shaking your head, but in all actuality, you're with the realm of you are royalty, and you're always a straight, great man. So if anybody would like to come up and say a few words to Bill, it'd be great. Carla, you want to come up first?
Well, I would like to read the letters from...
Oh, come on in. Come on.
Mark here.
Come on.
Just four of them.
You want to stand up? You need to come right here.
Okay.
I'll bring it down for you.
You saying I'm short?
No. Go ahead.
Okay. This first one is from Bruce Tossler, my first husband. Like I said before, he's afraid of flying, so he's not here. He lives in Texas. What did you say? He said my first son. Every friend that crosses our path in life always has something to give us, be it good memories, lessons, or just something worthwhile. True friends are always there for us through thick and thin and through good and bad. For me, Bill Quarry falls in each of these categories. In 1999, I went to Bill's Minute Printing shop in San Leandro and discussed with him a book idea I had. He liked the idea enough to open up to me his entire collection of posters, flyers, photos, and other rock memorabilia. We interviewed numerous rock bands and other artists, and we held interviews at the Minute Printing. As I wrote all those biographies, Bill was at my side helping with the layout of the book and eventually became my publisher. We spent a lot of time together during those years and created some pretty meaningful memories. Unfortunately, I'm not there to celebrate with you, Bill, but I'm certain you're surrounded by many people who think the world of you. Congratulations on an unprecedented career in rock music. Your friend, Bruce Tosser. This next one is from Mimi Emilio Castillo from Tower Power. He said, I've known Bill Quarry since 1966 when he promoted shows in the East Bay. The Motowns, who became the Tower Power in 68, started playing shows for him around 1967 pretty regularly. He was the Bay Area rock promoter to work for back then, and we made sure we stayed in his good graces. I remember playing for him at Frenchie's in Hayward many times, where every famous act in the world played at one time or another. He's always been very kind to me and a lot of fun to reminisce with. Bill Quarry did a lot of Tower Power in the early days, and I am forever grateful to him. Emilio Castillo, band leader for Tower Power. This next one is from Barry Carlos, and I'm sure you all remember Barry Carlos. And he's in Southern California, and he would have loved to have been here. He thought it was Bill's birthday, so I had to change this because he said, wishing you a happy birthday, Bill. But it's not a birthday, I told him. I said, but that's okay. He goes, if I remember correctly, it was Pete Paulson, king of the cool in the Bay Area, that said to me many years ago, hey, Barry, that Bill Quarry is some kind of guy, isn't he? I could only answer, he sure is, Pete. Long before the other Bill left New York and started up his San Francisco operation, you, Bill, the nice one, were on Sunday nights throwing packed out dances at Carpenter's Hall in Hayward. My band, the Nightcaps, played at many of those sweaty dances. I developed a great respect for your promotional abilities when you first took on the Roll Arena on New Year's Eve and packed the house. Peter Wheat headlined that night, and it was the beginning of a great relationship playing shows for you, including Paul Revere and the Raiders and the infamous show at the Roll Arena with Van Morrison and them. Everything you touched turned to gold, and many East Bay bands owe their success to your innate ability to promote and pack a house, no matter what town or venue your latest show is in. I'm very thankful for our friendship throughout the years, and say again, as I have said so many times in the past, Bill Quarry is not only the best show promoter in the business, but one heck of a nice guy. And yes, that includes the other Bill. Love, Barry. And the last one is from Larry White. And we all remember Larry White. He promoted and managed the Beethovens. Dear Bill, your celebration is 24 hours from Tulsa and even longer on my bicycle. So I'm unable to make the physical journey, but will be there in spirit. Have a great day with old friends, recalling stories from your adventures at the Roll Arena to Minute Printing to Frenchie's and back to Minute Printing. You're a legend. Best, Larry.
Thank you, Carla. Robert, would you like to come up here and say something about Bill? Or do you want to sing a song? Okay. And then after that, Mick, I'll have you come up after Robert. Okay.
You know, my first job that I did for Bill early on at the Roll Arena, we were a Fremont Hayward band called the Tarntells, and we lost one of our members, so we took on a couple of members from, we stole them from the Harbinger Complex. And so that we were a 4-piece group, and with the Harbinger guys, we became a 5-piece group. We called ourselves the New Edition. So Bill booked the New Edition in to open for the Turtles. That's the first time I worked for Bill. After that, too many to count. The Vegetables, the Mojo Men, Van Morrison and them, Buffalo Springfield, the Birds, the Yardbirds, Paul Revere. We did a lot of shows for Bill back in the day. So, at the Roll Arena, sometimes we'd go back to Bill's, had a little office back there, and we'd stand at the door, and we'd hear Bill sing this song. boss man. Can't you hear me when I call? Big boss man. Can't you hear me when I call? Well, you ain't so big, you're just tall, that's all. Well, you got me a working boss man, working around the clock. One little drink of water, but you won't let Bobby stop. Big boss man, can't you hear me when I call? Well, you ain't so big, you're just tall, and that's all.
Hey.
Well, I'm gonna get me a foreman, one who treat me right, work hard in the daytime, rest easy at night. Big boss man, can't you hear me when I call? Well, you ain't so big, you're just tall, and that's all. Big boss man, big boss man, big boss man. Now, there was another song that Bill liked to sing when he was all alone back in his office. And he used to sing this one a lot. Oh Lord, it's hard to be humble when you're perfect in every way. Well, I can't wait to look in the mirror, 'cause I get better looking each day. To know me is to love me. Well, I must be a hell of a man. Oh Lord, it's hard to be humble, but I'm doing the best that I can. Well, I used to have me a girlfriend, but I guess she just couldn't compete with all these love-starved women who keep clamoring at my feet. Well, I suppose I could find me another, but they're all in all of me. Who cares? I never get lonely, 'cause I treasure my own company. Oh Lord, it's hard to be humble when you're perfect in every way. Well, I can't wait to look in the mirror, 'cause I get better looking each day. To know me is to love me, but I must be a hell of a man. Oh Lord, it's hard to be humble, but I'm doing the best that I can. Well, I guess you could say I'm a loner, a cowboy outlaw, tough and proud. I could have lots of friends if I wanted, but then I wouldn't stand out from the crowd. Now, some folks say I'm egotistical. Hell, I don't even know what that means. Well, I guess it has something to do with the way that I fill out my skin-tight blue jeans. Oh Lord, it's hard to be humble when you're perfect in every way. Well, I can't wait to look in the mirror, 'cause I get better looking each day. To know me is to love me. Well, I must be a hell of a man. Oh Lord, it's hard to be humble, but I'm doing the best that I can. But I'm doing the best that I can. For you, Bill. Well, folks, in case you're not aware of it, there's this little astronomical thing known as Mercury retrograde. Oh, someone is familiar with that. And that little thing has a way of wreaking havoc with communications and electronics and things. But there is no problem with the communications amongst all of us. The thing that we communicate is that we love this gentleman, Bill Quarry, for what he's done through the years, with him still being with us this evening. And as much as I would have loved to have worked for Bill, especially in the heyday, I did work for the other Bill, Bill Graham, for 46 years. I was born and raised in San Francisco, and even as far away as that was across the bay, we knew what was going on here in the East Bay. We knew of Bill Quarry. We knew of the Roll Arena. We knew of the concerts, and we definitely knew of Frenchie's in Hayward. And I was fortunate enough to have my parents transplant the family from San Francisco to Fremont. And only two things I knew over here in the East Bay, and that was Fremont Drag Strip and Frenchie's in Hayward. And thanks to my good friend Steve Bond, 3 years ago in 2021, I was introduced to Bill, and I was taken to the Minute Printing, and I got to see the posters, and I got to see the flyers, and I got to see the legacy that Bill had accumulated over the years. And I felt honored to be in his presence at that time, being a rock and roller myself. And I feel fortunate at 70 years old right now to still be here, to be able to say kind, flattering words about this gentleman, because he put on some rock and roll here in the East Bay. And there are gentlemen here that played for him that are still with us, which is awesome. And especially Emilio Castillo, Tower Power, they're celebrating 55 years together, and they got their early beginnings with Bill. And so, yeah, so to get here and to experience and see that, and then, you know, to come to Hayward and host the Battle of the Bands, and then have bands that won the very first one in 1964, which was in Bill's heyday as he was doing the Roll Arena. Those gentlemen, I take my hat off to them, because they were the ones that formed the path for young rockers like myself, who was only 18 in 1972 when I got here. And so, yeah, Bill Graham actually was feeling threatened and had his ego tested by Bill Quarry, because Bill Quarry would bring over groups like Buffalo Springfield, the Yardbirds, Jefferson Airplane, Neil Diamond, all groups that Bill thought he had exclusivity to in San Francisco at the Fillmore. Well, he found out otherwise, that there was a kinder, gentler gentleman that would present these groups over here in the East Bay. And when Bill tried to put his foot down on that, Bill Quarry stood his ground. He says, no, this is my territory. Yeah, way to go, Bill. And I wish I was here in those early days to experience those Roll Arena shows when I was a teenager. You know, what a wonderful thing, you know. So the 46 years that I spent working with Bill Graham, working with that outfit, working the Fillmore and the Day on the Greens, those were the things and the events that followed what was going on here in the East Bay. Castro Valley, San Leandro, Hayward, San Lorenzo, Fremont, Union City, Newark, what is known as the East Bay Rock Territory. And so, one more time, I got to take my hat off to you, Bill Quarry, for presenting those events, for having us all be able to come to Frenchie's once we were of drinking age, you know. And here's the thing most people don't realize, that all of us kids growing up at that time were the baby boomers, born between 1946 and 1964. And believe me, if our parents, teachers, and the authorities knew
that we had no idea of our strength in numbers. Oh my. But they just let us outgrow it. They let us rock and roll. And Bill gave us places to do that. So once again, thank you, Bill Quarry.
Mick Flair. Thank you, Mick. Alec? This is the man that wrote the foreword in our book of Linen Now.
Greetings.
Greetings.
Well, Bill Quarry, well, first let me introduce myself. My name is Alec Palau. Obviously, I'm not from the United States of America, but like most Europeans, we were in love with America, American culture. And I knew the name Bill Quarry long before I moved to this country in the late 80s. And not only did I know his name, I also knew all the bands from the East Bay that he promoted. And all of those bands, even if they were, if you come and see them in a place like this, back in 65, 66, they would have been playing the hits of the day. But all of them managed to squeeze their talents into one or maybe a couple of 45s. And those are the things that I was enamored of as a young guy, just hoovering up rock and roll. I already knew all the classics, the Beatles, the Stones, everything. I was already subliminally programmed with that stuff. So I wanted to, anything that kind of had that same energy and vitality and innocence. And there's a lot of that from the East Bay. The Peter and the Breadman, Baby What's New. Spiders, Make Up Your Mind.
Yeah.
The Harbinger Complex, the Beethovens. I mean, all these bands made records. That's the reason why I'm interested. I wasn't, I was like 4 years old when Bill was doing the Roll Arena or whatever on the other side of the ocean. But like they say, if you remember the '60s, you weren't there. Well, I guess I wasn't there. But I've always loved history and loved music, and getting to know Bill over the years and being involved with Bruce's book, and then doing a lot of reissues on vinyl and CD of various East Bay bands, which has always been a thrill for me to like delve into the kind of the actual evidence there was of what a great scene it was there. It made me realize that everybody outside of this area thinks of it just as San Francisco, and they think that all of the Bay Area is just San Francisco. But really, the East Bay had its own flavor, kind of a working class, blue collar thing. East Bay was way more into soul music long before it became a thing at the ballrooms in the late '60s. And they valued some authenticity. They didn't necessarily go for the hippy dippy stuff that San Francisco was pushing. And there's some great, just fantastic rock and roll from all these areas. Some of the people went on to get bigger, like the Gollywogs became Creedence and etc. But all of the bands, everybody at that period when Bill was booking people was a magic period for rock and roll. And Bill, people like Bill don't get that credit necessarily because he wasn't in a band or he wasn't a hotshot manager, even though he's well known as the manager of Peter Harbinger Complex, I should say, was the band that Bill managed. But every scene needs to have an enabler, somebody that's going to make it happen, that's going to do the work to book the venues and get a scene going. And the East Bay and the Bay Area as a whole owes Bill Quarry an enormous debt for making the action happen in this area. Otherwise, all the talent here would have had anywhere to go to play. There wouldn't have been places for audience to go to. There wouldn't have been venues for bands to play. And people like Bill was absolutely on the same footing as Bill Graham, in my opinion. I mean, in terms of he brought a lot of outside talent to the Bay Area long before anybody else did. I mean, you had a few people doing big affairs before Bill, like Donahue and Mitchell of the Cow Palace and all those kinds of things. But Bill actually really put his money where his mouth is, and he bringing people like Young Rascals and them and the Yardbirds, Neil Diamond, just tons of different top quality acts, and really East Bay, you could go see the Yardbirds at the Roll Arena or something like that. I mean, that's just an incredible thought now, but back then it's like that was just the service that Bill was providing. So my interest in all that and the history made me realize even more before I met Bill how important he was. Of course, when I first met Bill, he was like, "Does anyone care about this?" "You're some limey asking me about this crap from years ago." Of course, he was nicer about it than that, but he soon realized, and then Bruce, of course, came along and really kind of lit a fire under him to document what he did in those days. And like I say, I was very fortunate to attend a lot of the interviews and meet a lot of the musicians and get to know Bill, and he really deserves every accolade that he's getting today and that he ever gets. So God bless Will Quarry.
Bill, are you sleeping over there? Is there anybody else? Larry Cumbray, would you like to come up here from the Spiders? Would you like to come up here and speak a little bit?
I would like to say that back in the day, me, Bob, we were all young guys. We're not young anymore, but Bill was the man that helped set us up with dreams. We as a young musician, we had these big time dreams where we become rock stars or whatever, and I don't know about Bob, but I've had a great career playing music. I still play, and I'm playing quite a bit now. Well, get up here. Come here, John. How about everybody putting a hand together for John Whitney? And John is one of the reasons I ended up in the Spiders.
It was? Really? I did that? Oh my God. 16 years old, right?
I was 16 years old. And
He should have been staying out of the bars. I'm telling you. There he was.
And this guy was like my dad. No, I don't want to say it in a long term, but when we were on the road, we were in Dallas, Texas, and I was the baby of the band, and I got sick. This guy took me to the hospital. He probably doesn't remember it.
Pleurisy.
That's
what you had.
He took me to the hospital and made sure that I was underage and he was old enough to check me in.
That's true. That's funny. Yeah.
And we had a lot of good times together in the Spiders. Great time. And,
Great band.
And there's, I'm almost like lost words. I love this guy. They want me to say stuff. Come on, John, help me out.
I don't know what I've missed, so.
Well, Bill Quarry, this is about Bill Quarry, and I said, Bill Quarry.
Hi, Bill. How you doing? Congratulations. Happy birthday. Whose birthday? Huh? Nobody's birthday? Okay.
And I'll tell you a little story right now. So they needed a bass player. I wasn't the original bass player. So they had another gentleman playing bass. They needed a new bass player. Well, the Spiders was kind of wanting to become a little more R&B. And so I had to audition. So I auditioned in Hayward. He probably doesn't remember this. So we did a song by James Brown. And I was actually more of an R&B type bass player than I was, and I still love blues and R&B. That's what I play mostly. So we played that song by James Brown, which is Dennis DeLacqua. You all know Dennis. One of the most soulful guys I've ever known or played with. So we did this song, and this guy here got excited because I was playing riffs on my bass like James Jamerson from James Brown. Yeah. And I still remember the day. He goes, man, we're playing soul music.
We got lucky when Larry showed up. That's for sure. Thank you. Oh my.
And but we owe a lot to Bill. Bill is the one that set a lot of dreams for us, and we got to play a lot of good gigs. And I don't know what else to say, to be honest with you.
That's good.
We good.
I have a couple memories.
Come on, John.
Well, I think hopefully a lot of you here, I can look and see that maybe there are a few of you who weren't at the Royal Arena, but it was truly amazing to play there because it was so well organized and you pretty much guaranteed a huge audience, every time he played. So looking over just hundreds of faces of kids and just the joy of being able to share music with so many people. And there were so many great groups that we shared the stage with there. And just so much talent locally. And without people with the vision that Bill and Tom Brown and a few other people around had, those of us who enjoy playing music would not have had that opportunity. So it's not anything that I ever took for granted, although I never really got the piece about how you get started doing something like that, how you would just, put together get the place, get the promotion, just all the things that go into having a successful concert. But Bill was able to do that consistently. And then he started bringing in larger names. Neil Diamond, funny story. We were pretty cocky, got to admit. We thought we were bad, soulful guys. And because we had the hair all combed back. I think that's what it was all about.
Razor cuts.
He still is. Anyway, Neil Diamond was booked in there, and he had a hit at that point, Solitary Man, and we just didn't think he was soulful enough, so we declined to back him up. I guess we got that one wrong, but anyway. But he had the association in there. They were really a bunch of nice people, great group. I'm trying to think of who else I heard there, but anyway, it just was our opportunity, and how appreciative we all are. And thank you for that, Bill. Quarry.
At least we got our name on the poster.
Don't go.
Because I just want to say one thing about the spiders, and I'm Carla, by the way.
Oh, she enjoys it, so.
Yeah, I just want to say something about these two guys and Steve Dodson.
Is Steve here?
No, so it was a very special thing for me to be able to get the three remaining spiders together. And so there's two of them here, and I was to pick up one tonight in Modesto. And I talked to him this afternoon, and he's in the hospital with COVID. But he's going to be okay. But it was such a special thing, and I was so excited when I saw you walk through the door, because this band, and I love Peter Wheat and everybody else, but I'm a soul person. I just love dancing to them at IDS Hall when they played old soul music.
So I told Carla that probably back in the day, because I was a young guy, I was probably chasing her around the roller ringer or something.
Anyway, that's all I wanted to say.
So, would Stephanie Brown like to come and say a few words? Or Greg? You come, both of you gonna come up and say something about Bill?
We're Tom Brown's kids. A lot of you guys were here at the memorial we did for him back in February, and it's like really nice to see all these faces again. And it's funny because
We're late to the party.
we're late. Yeah, we're born too late because we love all this music too, and not just because our dad loved it, because it's like the best music, but we grew up just waiting in our dad's car when he was wheeling and dealing with Bill Quarry. Bill Quarry was like triggering for us, like, oh, we're going to be sitting here in his print shop, like looking at stuff and trying to kill time, because my dad and him, just always doing stuff, late 70s, early 80s when we were kids. I mean, I think we even went to Frenchie's like when it was, during the day. Obviously, we weren't there at shows, but, growing up around all this, and then later on in life realizing how cool this was that was happening, but it was just our dad's job, because our Tom Brown was also doing a lot of the promoting and managing bands and stuff. And so our memories of Bill are just like part of the fabric of us being kids and just being part of that. So, and then this book that then I saw the copy of it again today. We were just talking about how when that whole thing was happening, and all this work was going into honoring these bands, and a lot of more people were around back then, we didn't go, and we really regret that we didn't. We were in our 20s and probably having our own lives, and like, oh, Dad, go ahead and have fun with your band guys. And now looking at all of this, is just so much history and so much cool stuff. So I have the CD in my car. I listen to it all the time. So it's just really nice to see everybody. And Carla, it's awesome to have gotten to know you too. Anything you want to say, Greg? Just, you know, and also we're just jealous because we grew up in San Leandro and it sounds like it was a lot cooler in the 60s and 70s than it was in the 90s and the 2000s. Not cool at all, you know. There was no roller arena. So that was in San Leandro on East 14th Street. That's crazy. There's nothing there now. There's like a Chili's. So not as cool. But anyway, Bill, awesome to have this here and to see you and see everybody else. So thanks for giving us.
Thank you, Stephanie. Come on up here, man.
This gentleman right here is a great trumpet player. Lucky Strike, Delta Wires, Mike Quinn. Michael, say a few words about it. And this will be our last person. Go right ahead.
I'm not going to be long. I don't know Bill as well as the rest of the people, but I know the people that he worked with over the years. And so I know him from him booking a young upstart band from high school called the Post Raisin Band. We all lived around the San Leandro area, and we were fortunate enough to have him book us in some of his gigs, like the Roll Arena and Carpenter's Hall, and I'm sure there were others. And in a way, he's kind of part of the blame for me feeling like I could have a career in music. So anyway, I played in a band called Delta Wires, which he's worked with, and another band called Rainforest, which is mentioned in his book. I probably have the luck of being in 3 bands mentioned in his book, like that. And I've gotten to know him a little bit over the past few years because of finding out about the book that he wrote and feeling fortunate that I was mentioned in it. And it's in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, by the way. So anyway, my name's Mike. I play trumpet, although I'm semi-retired. And it's nice to see him once in a while. And that's about all I have to say. Thank you.